So what was the first proof that you saw in whatever you were researching that made the light bulb go on?
The first thing that I saw was the flight routes in the southern hemisphere. That's the first thing that caught my eye because everybody can go to Expedia or Travelocity or something like that, and you can book these flights yourself. And you start randomly picking any flights in the southern hemisphere, like from Africa to South America to Australia, but it's got to be south to south. And it's amazing how many go north a huge distance before they go south. I mean, they take these double connections, triple connections, flights that should only take 10 hours. They're booking of like 36 hours, 38 hours. It's like it doesn't take 38 hours to go anywhere unless you're like taking a flight to the middle of Africa and then taking like a small plane and then like a bush vehicle out to, somewhere. And that was the first thing that caught my eye because the guy that I initially, there was a German guy that spotted it. He was absolutely right. And if you put it on a flat map, like that one that's behind you, they angle out to where it's like a shallow dog leg or a straight line. I go, wow, that's really interesting. That's the first thing that caught my eye. That was the first physical thing that's like, okay, you might have something there that enough to pique my interest. Sure.
You'd mentioned the flight routes. That was the first thing that kind of clued you in. I know that
Yep.
in some of the earlier videos, there was the claim that there specifically were no flights along certain
Yep.
routes.
Yep. Yep. In Clue
That
7, as a matter of fact. And honestly, I was looking. I was looking quite a while. And then, but of course, again, the internet hive mind, people were digging, and they found like 5 of them. And I got them emailed to me daily, heck, hourly. I got these 5 flights emailed. And the part that threw me was, and that's why I did Clue 9. I'd already made a clue in between, and then I did Clue 9 called The Magic Show, where I was going over the routes because people were asking me to follow these flights. But beforehand, first up, two points. One was it stunned me to no end that people still didn't understand the fact that there were only like a handful of nonstop flights in the entire southern hemisphere. Just a handful. I mean, 90 something percent of the flights in the southern hemisphere are connecting flights, which should not be the case if you're flying over the South Atlantic, the South Pacific, and the Indian Ocean. But the part that threw me after that was that's when I started looking. A guy from England said, "Hey, watch the flight trackers, watch the latitude and longitude coordinates when these flights go off." Part of the clue is I'm watching, and I couldn't catch him. It's like where'd the flight go? Right? It was just blink away. It would just be gone, and I would show people. I go, Are you watching the same thing I am? And the flights would disappear. And the reason why they disappeared, now they've changed the algorithms now, but the reason why they disappeared is because the latitude and longitude dropped off. They didn't exist anymore. And we realized that they were only getting out of ground radar range, and then it would go into approximated or estimated mode, and that was basically it. It was like, okay, the short version is the planes are going out, and they're not lying. They know approximately where they are. They don't know exactly where they are. And then they get to where within ground radar range of whatever coastline it is, and then they pop back on. And that was really intriguing to me. So I did the clue called The Magic Show and talked about this, and people verified it, and they said, yeah. I said, isn't that a little strange considering the GPS system is absolutely blanket coverage, overlapping, 32. And then I ran into and then I had flight instructors and pilots that were saying, no, no, it also happens in the northern hemisphere. I go, what? I go, yeah, watch a flight leave from Hawaii or from San Francisco to Hawaii. Same thing happens. And I didn't make a clue on it, but I probably should have. They go, remember, there's no islands between San Francisco and Hawaii. It's a long stretch. And when you get out off of California, it blips out. And in fact, they even said there are times that here's the part that freaked me out. He goes, there are times where we absolutely proved there was ground radar based, which was when you go in certain places, they're dead zones in the United States, continental United States, where you're flying, you do not have absolute GPS coverage. It blinks out for a little while. Not very long, maybe 10, 15 minutes, then blinks back on and it comes in. That's because you don't have complete radar coverage everywhere. That was fascinating.